channel where we are reading the Bible in a year. We are reading the entire Bible in a year. And we are on day 60 of our Bible in a year journey, where we will be reading Matthew. We'll be finishing up chapter 8, 14 through 34. Jesus is going to heal people. He's still healing people. He calms the sea and driving out demons. So he's still performing miracles. Leviticus 1 through 2. So we're on a new book. So that makes, like, we did Psalms, Luke, Hebrews, right? Yeah. Psalms, Luke, and Hebrews. So we have finished up 3 books of the Bible already. And now we're on, and we finished up Genesis. So that's 4 books. And then, so Leviticus 1 and 2, instructions for burnt offerings and grain offerings. So still giving instructions on how to conduct yourselves with the tabernacle. Proverbs 19, this is wisdom about wealth, discipline, and relationships. Okay, so let's begin. Jesus steals, no. We are not there. 14. Jesus heals many at Peter's house. When Jesus entered Peter's house, he saw his mother-in-law lying in bed with a fever. He touched her hand and the fever left her, and she got up and began to serve him. That evening they brought him many who were possessed with demons, and he cast out spirits with a word and cured all who were sick. This was to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took out our infirmities and bore our diseases. So not only did he heal her, other people were brought there too. I guess people just like, I know somebody, let me bring them over here. So would-be followers of Jesus. Now, when Jesus saw great crowds around him, he gave orders to go to the other side. A scribe then approached and said, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, Foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Another of his disciples said to him, Lord, first let me go and bury my father. But Jesus said to him, Follow me, and let the dead bury their own dead. Jesus stills the storm. And when he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. A windstorm arose on the sea, so great the boat was being swamped by the waves, and he was asleep. And they went and woke him, saying, Lord, save us, we are perishing. And he said to them, Why are you afraid, you of little faith? Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a dead calm. They were amazed, saying, What sort of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? Jesus heals the Gadarene demoniacs. When he came to the other side of the country of the Gadarenes, the 2 demoniacs coming out of the tombs met him. They were so fierce that no one could pass that way. Suddenly they shouted, What have you to do with us, Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time? Now a large herd of swine was feeding at some distance from there. The demons begged him, If you cast us out, send us into the herd of swine. And he said to them, Go. So they came out and entered the swine, and suddenly the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea and perished in the water. The swine herds ran off and on going into the town. They told the whole story of what had happened with the demoniacs, and the whole town came out to meet Jesus. And when they saw him, they begged him to leave their neighborhood. All right. And they were scared to death, wasn't they? So Jesus heals Peter's mother-in-law in the beginning of our lesson for today, or our reading for today, at Peter's house. And then other people who were possessed with demons came, and he cast out spirits with just a word. So Jesus has the authority over sickness. Do we trust him with our health and struggles? Again, this is about trust. Trusting that he is going to heal us just with the word, with his word alone. Okay. I didn't write that part down, but yeah, 18 through 2020 is about the cost of following him. Like, honey, I ain't got nowhere to lay my head I'm letting you know now, I ain't got no house. I ain't got no dwelling place. We just roaming. We just roaming these lands and spreading the word. And so basically just giving him something to think about. Another man asked, can he go and bury his father? But Jesus replied, let the dead bury their own dead. So following Jesus requires commitment. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, okay? But we must put him first. So you worried about your father over there. I'm trying to tell you, we got to be on something important. I ain't got time for that, okay? Not in those harsh words, but but anyway. So he's driving out demons. Oh yeah. I forgot. He calms the storm first. So one of the disciples panic and he says, "Oh, you of little faith." Dog, I'm here. I'm right here in your eyeball. Calm down. We got this. So the storms hit our lives, and we panic. We worry, but we need to trust that Jesus is in control and everything is happening for a reason. Okay, and we just need to trust him. And sometimes God wants us to see his miracles and his marvels. Verses 28 through 34, Jesus is casting out the demons into the pigs. So the demons is asking, like, hey, put us over there. Because they have to go into something. So they beg to be sent into a herd of pigs. So he do it, and the pigs rush down to sea and drown. And the townspeople, instead of being happy that these demons gone, they like, it scares them, I guess. And I don't know. I don't know if they were just comfortable or they were afraid or what. But maybe they like the way things were, and he's just bringing too much. Sometimes people just don't like good, and they like self-sabotaging, and they like chaos. Is what with life I have been getting. Sometimes when I hear a story about someone doing something that may be the wrong way, and it's clear that it's the wrong way, it's like, why not just be this? I don't get it. And I just know there's a saying that goes, it's too much like right. And that's just uncomfortable for them. Some people just have to, because they have dealt with so much chaos in their lives, so many chaotic people. I have experienced that in a relationship with someone, and I asked this person, do you just like self-sabotaging? Because this didn't have to be this hard. It does not have to be this hard. It is just this easy. It is not even out your way to do this, the right thing, but it's you just hey, it's going too good for me. So I gotta mess this up. I gotta find a way to mess this up. I don't know. So I guess the same thing that I'm seeing here. So we're gonna move on down to Leviticus. Going to our new chapter. Okay. Our new book, not our new chapter, but our new book is Leviticus. All right. It's the third book of the Bible. It is the center of the Torah. Okay. It forms the heart of the Torah and is commonly used to introduce Jewish children to the basic elements of the Jewish faith. All right. So the first part, we're going to be on instructions for sacrifices and offerings, and that goes from 1 to 7, chapter 1 to 7, chapter 7, verse 38. Okay, so chapter 1, we're going to be reading chapter 1 and chapter 2. The burnt offering. The Lord summoned Moses and spoke to him from the tent of meeting, saying, "Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when any of you bring an offering of livestock to the Lord, you shall bring your offering from the herd or from the flock. If the offering is a burnt offering from the herd, you shall offer a male without blemish." I think the Lord mentioned this in Exodus as well. "You shall bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting for acceptance on your behalf before the Lord. You shall lay your hand on the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be acceptable in your behalf as atonement for you. The bull shall be slaughtered before the Lord, and Aaron's sons and priests should shall offer the blood, dashing the blood against all the sides of the altar that is at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The burnt offering shall be filleted and cut up into its parts. The sons of the priest Aaron shall put fire on the altar and arrange the wood on the fire. Aaron's sons the priest shall arrange the parts with the head and the suet on the wood that is on the fire on the altar, but its entrails and its legs shall be washed with water. Then the priest shall turn the whole into smoke on the altar as a burnt offering, an offering by fire, a pleasing odor to the Lord. If your gift for burnt offering is from the flock, from the sheep or goats, your offering shall be a male without blemish. It shall be slaughtered on the north side of the altar before the Lord. And Aaron's sons, the priest shall dash its blood against all sides of the altar. It shall be cut up into its parts and with its head and its suet. And the priest shall arrange them on the wood that is on the fire of the altar, and the entrails and the legs shall be washed with water. And the priest shall offer the whole, and turn it into smoke on the altar. It is a burnt offering, an offering by fire, a pleasing odor to the Lord. If your offering to the Lord is a burnt offering of birds, you shall choose your offering from turtle doves or pigeons. The priest shall bring it to the altar and wring off its head and turn it into smoke on the altar, and its blood shall be drained out against the side of the altar. He shall remove its cup with its contents and throw it at the east of the altar in the place for ashes. He shall tear it open by its wings without severing it. Then the priest shall turn it into smoke on the altar, on the wood that is on the fire. It is a burnt offering, an offering by fire, a pleasing odor to the Lord. All right. Grain offering. When anyone presents a grain offering to the Lord, the offering shall be of choice flour. The worship shall pour oil on it and put frankincense on it and bring it to Aaron's sons, the priests, after taking from it a handful of the choice flour and oil and with all its frankincense. The priest shall turn this token portion into smoke on the altar, an offering by fire, a pleasing odor to the Lord. And what is left of the grain offering shall be for Aaron and his sons, a most holy part of the offerings by fire to the Lord. When you present a grain offering baked in the oven, it shall be of choice flour, unleavened cakes mixed with oil, or unleavened wafers spread with oil. If your offering is a grain prepared on a griddle, it shall be of choice flour mixed with oil, unleavened, baked. Break it in pieces and pour oil on it. It is a grain offering. If your offering is grain prepared in a pan, it shall be made of choice flour and oil. You shall bring to the Lord the grain offering that is prepared in any of these ways. And when it is presented to the priest, he shall take it to the altar. The priest shall remove from the grain offering its token portion and turn this into smoke on the altar, an offering by fire, a pleasing odor to the Lord. And what is left of the grain offering shall be for Aaron and his sons. It is a most holy part of the offerings by fire to the Lord. No grain offering that you bring to the Lord shall be made with leaven, for you must not turn any leaven or honey into smoke as an offering by fire to the Lord. You may bring them to the Lord as an offering of choice products, but they shall not be offered on the altar for pleasing odor. You shall not omit your grain offerings, the salt of the covenant with your God. You should not omit from your grain offerings the salt of the covenant with your God. With all your offerings you shall offer salt. If you bring a grain offering of first fruits to the Lord, you shall bring bring as the grain offering of your first fruits, coarse new grain, fresh ears, parched with fire. You shall add oil to it and lay frankincense on it, as it is a grain offering, and the priest shall turn a token portion of it into smoke. Some of the coarse grain and oil with all its frankincense. It is an offering by fire to the Lord. All right. Burnt offering was a voluntary sacrifice of a bull, sheep, or bird. The animal had to be perfect without defect, symbolizing pure offering to God. I think we said this in Cain, like he gave his best, where, not Cain. Abel gave his best. Cain just gave some stuff. Jesus is our ultimate sacrifice in the end, though. He was the perfect lamb who took our place, okay? So that we would not be destroyed. So Leviticus 2 is grain offerings. This is an offering of flour, oil, and incense, representing devotion to God. So each represents something. So our worship isn't about words. It's about bringing God our best. So whether it's time, talents, or resources. So, and I have said this before, a lot of times I have turned things down that someone has asked me to do within the church. That is only because I know that I'm not going to give my best. I don't have time to do it, and it's just going to be something. I don't like being rushed, or I don't like half stepping on anything. And yes, sometimes we should sacrifice the time, but sometimes I don't have the time to give. I'm probably not in the mindset to do this. And I don't see anything wrong with, saying like, hey, I cannot give my all to this right now. Sometimes we spread ourselves thin. I don't think God wants us to spread ourselves thin. I don't think that he likes it when you put time into other things and you can't find time for him. So this is one of the reasons that I started doing this. I have never read the whole Bible before, I don't think before this, honestly, I didn't take the time out to read a word every day at that. I did not. So this is the sacrifice that I've made every day to the Lord, and saying that I'm going to read this in a year, and I'm going to say, and I'm going to continue. So next year, I may choose a different reading plan. I was just thinking about this last night. I may choose a different reading plan. I'm going to go a different route, but I am going to get this word in every day, or almost every day, because some days life is hectic and I end up being late. But it's going to show me discipline on how I don't have to do those things, okay? So, moving on to Proverbs. I need to hold this place because this is instructions for sacrifices and offerings. I need to write that down on this paper. So, moving on to Proverbs. What are we on? Proverbs 19. Better the poor walking in integrity than one perverse speech who is a fool. Desire without knowledge is not good, and one who moves too hurriedly misses the way. One's own folly leads to ruin, yet the heart rages against the Lord. Wealth brings many friends, but the poor are left friendless. A false witness will not go unpunished, and a liar will not escape. Many seek the favor of the generous, and everyone is a friend to the giver of gifts. If the poor are hated even by their kin, how much more are they shunned by their friends? When they call after them, they are not there. To get wisdom is to love oneself. To keep understanding is to prosper. A false witness will not go unpunished, and a liar will perish. It is not fitting for a fool to live in luxury, much less for a slave to rule over princes. Those with good sense are slow to anger, and it is their glory to overlook the offense. The king's anger is like the growling of a lion, but his favor is like the dew on grass. A stupid child is ruin to a father, and a wife's quarreling is a continual dripping of rain. House and wealth are inherited from parents, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. Laziness brings on deep sleep. An idle person will suffer hunger. Those who keep the commandment will live. Those who are heedless of their ways will die. Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord and will be repaid in full. Discipline your children while there is hope. Do not set your heart on their destruction. A violent-tempered person will pay the penalty if you effect a rescue. You will only have to do it again. Listen to advice and accept instruction, that you may gain wisdom for the future. The human mind may devise many plans, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will be established. What is desirable in a person is loyalty, and it is better to be poor than a liar. The fear of the Lord is life indeed. Fill it with rest secure. fill it with one rest secure, and suffers no harm. The lazy person buries a hand in the dish and will not even bring it back to the mouth. Strike a scoffer, and the simple will learn prudence. Reprove the intelligent, and they will gain knowledge. Those who do violence to their father and chase away their mother are children who cause shame and bring reproach. Cease straying, my child, from the words of knowledge, in order that you may hear instruction. A worthless witness mocks at justice, and the mouth of the wicked devours iniquity. Condemnation is ready for scoffers, and flogging for the backs of fools. Wine is a mocker. Oh no, I'm reading on. Okay, that's it. So breaking it down into 3 different verses. So verse 2 is, desire without knowledge is not good, and one who moves too hurriedly misses the way. So moving too hastily without knowing the full. So it's a lot of times, you ever heard of somebody not getting the full story before they just dive into something, or not studying it, or not taking their time with it, or gaining knowledge about it before they just go into a decision, or rushing into things without wisdom leads to mistakes. So you're not going to see a doctor just go out and do, perform surgery without having had the education and the training. Okay. Like we just can't do that. Even with me doing hair, I had to go get the training, and then I had to start doing hair in order to perfect it. Like I had to train first. Theory and clinically, I had to train. So verse 11, those with good sense are slow to anger, and it is their glory to overlook an offense. So, good sense, people with wisdom are slow to anger. So they're patient. They learn to be patient. And sometimes they are, not quick to be offended. These are the people that offer grace, and they understand that everything doesn't have to be said. Okay? We can overlook. Patience and forgiveness are signs of wisdom. So everything doesn't have to be said. We don't have to call people out on everything. Okay? We don't have to critique everything. Sometimes you can be quiet. And sometimes if you're slow to saying something, you may find another way to say it so that person will receive it. Because a lot of times we're not going to receive it if it seems like you're just, woo, woo, woo. Okay, wait, so now I'm going to retaliate, or I'm going to fight back. Verse 17, whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord and will be repaid in full. You never know who is, when I forgot how it goes, if an angel's knocking at your door, or I forgot, but basically, like, we don't know. So this means that the Lord has a reward for you for what you have done when you give back to the poor. He sees our generosity. You just never know who that person is, and will bless those who help others. Okay, in good spirits though. So that's the end of day 60. And today we went over Jesus' authority over sickness. So he has authority over sickness, and he's given us that authority too now over sickness, like through him, not on our own, but through him. We have the authority through Jesus. Like, we don't have to go to priests. We don't have to go directly through Jesus. The importance of offering our best to God, that is in Leviticus. Again, we're going over the tabernacle or whatever, and the intricate details that went into building it, and also the details of how to sacrifice on it. Okay? He don't want some mediocre gift. He wants your best. Wisdom for daily life, again in Proverbs, it's all about wisdom, being slow at the tongue, and choosing words, and being kind, and everything else. So, what stood out today? Comment below. Let me know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 61. Be blessed and farewell.